recording. Right on. There we are. All right. Well, welcome everybody. I'm super excited to have you here for this conversation. This is something that I've been wanting to talk about for a long, long time. And I've got some requests from people that are competing in the next year, and they wanted to hear my thoughts on this. So, just putting this together, and excited to have you all hear me with me. So if you've got some questions, we're going to queue those up here in just a little bit, but I got a little intro we're going to get into. So yes, I have been a competitive auctioneer for pretty much my entire career. I've been fortunate to win a few contests over the years. World champion auto auctioneer in 2015, U.S. bid calling champion in 2012, Arizona State auctioneer champion in, I think, 2008, and then a few others. Placed third in the International Auctioneer Championship. So been there, done that. Competed in probably over a dozen contests, and through that have been able to glean a lot of information, a lot of tactics, a lot of strategies, a lot of mindset of how to be as successful as possible. Now, the biggest lesson that I've learned is that it's not about winning the contest. That's not the prize. The real win is who you become in the process. It's the confidence you build, it's the discipline you develop, the standards you raise, and the friendships that you make, and ultimately it's the auctioneer that you become. And contest preparation is one of the best laboratories for auctioneer growth, and I use the auction contest as a platform in all of my coaching as we are going through that process. Now, every skill that you're working on for your contest, your chant, your stage presence, your interview skills, your confidence under pressure, this makes you better in front of buyers, in front of sellers, in front of donors and audiences. So today, nothing's off limits. Ask me about preparation, about mindset, interviews, ring work, stage presence judges, mistakes that I've made, what I wish I knew earlier, anything else that's on your mind. This is a Q&A, and this is for you. Now, my goal isn't just to help you win a contest. My goal is to help you become a better auctioneer. So show of hands, who's going to be competing in a contest in the next 12 months? Brian, you better raise your hand. Okay, good. Good.
My plan is I'm hoping for in October, as long as my scheduling permits, which so far it does. The Northwest Conference is usually on a Sunday, Monday, and so it makes it easier for us to, you know what I mean, make it to that. And so my goal is to that. It's in Boise this year, which is 2 hours away from me, so it makes it simple. No, I'm excited, and I think I'm more excited just to have my peers critique me in a manner that's going to help me, rise to the next, level that I can rise to. Because I really feel in life, there's no such thing as perfect. I have a friend that's in martial arts, and they have different degrees, and he believes in their martial arts that they have a 10th degree, but you can't get there because nobody's perfect. And I feel like the same, I sometimes learn things from new people more than I do sometimes somebody that's been in the game for a long time. And so I feel like it's really good to be open to learn from anybody and everybody.
Nice, very nice. Right on, Brian. Good to hear. Randy, I'm gonna just put your hand in the air. I know you got the West Virginia Championships coming up in less than 10 months, and I'd love for you to go back there again and compete. And I know you're going to do better than you did last time. I can almost 100% guarantee that. And then Benjamin, answering your question, I hope there's a live stream for the Texan Championship tomorrow. I'm going to be watching for sure, tuning in on that and seeing how everybody does. All right, nice, Randy. Love to see that. You're definitely jumping in next year. Excellent. All right, here I got some notes here. What's the one thing that makes you all most nervous about competing?
I would say for me, probably the interview portion of it. You know what I mean, is especially if you get later on. I know in some of the contests they'll ask you certain questions. In some contests, you have to get to the finals before they ask you that interview question. But have you found that when they ask you those questions, like I'm coming from a benefit auctioneer space, is the question really doesn't, because there's so many different auctioneers at these events, that maybe it's a question that's more for an estate auctioneer, or more for personal property, or other than that, is like, how do you ever overcome not knowing, that question, and trying to answer it at your ability, even if it may not be in your total field of genre?
Well, that's a great question, Brian. And the way that they're formulating questions for the interviews now is they're developing it to be a very broad spectrum, because they do know that there is a broad spectrum of auctioneers that are out there, and they're really focusing on the auction industry itself, like how you might be able to use AI to improve your business, how you're able to be a great ambassador for the auctioneer contest that you might be winning. There's been, a lot of other questions, talking about how do you foster growth with the next generation, different things that are like that. So being a benefit auctioneer, I would definitely speak from that lens of being the benefit auctioneer for your particular business, no matter what the question is. And if they do ask you about real estate, you'd be like, you know what? In my world, I'm a professional benefit auctioneer. And if someone were to ask me this question about real estate, I'm so lucky to be involved with this organization and this association, so that I can find real estate auctioneer experts to ask this question to, and make that referral to, and be a resource for my clients, or for those that are in my community that trust me and they want to know some more information. So an answer like that is definitely going to answer the question, but then it's also going to again show you that show that you are a good representative of being a auctioneer and being a part of that association, and really leveraging the network of auctioneers. And that's what I love about the auction business, is that coast to coast. I mean, heck, even worldwide. I mean, if I needed some help in Germany, I know the guy. so it's a great network to be able to tap into. And I know that you are a big big proponent in the Northwest there, and are using that network. So definitely formulating that answer to just best fit your realm, your ultimately what it is putting your best self forward, and just really representing yourself as best as possible. And when you can speak eloquently, you can speak clearly, you can speak concisely, then they're going to score you much higher than what they would if you kind of get up there and and you kind of aren't sure about the answer. It's better to have a definite answer and have a clear answer and a short answer than it is to have a very long-winded going around the circle, kind of circling the wagons and being like, I'm just going to talk. Better than to just, answer the question, directly from your heart. Right on. Right on.
Awesome.
Okay. I only know about, all right. Benjamin's got another one about the LMA live stream on Saturday. Yes, Saturday's got the Livestock World Auctioneer Championship. I'm excited to see that, and we've got some good contests that are coming up. So it's excited to see the contestants and the different contestants that are out there, and the different ways that they structure their performance of the auctioneer contest. And that's really what it's about, is it's a performance. And I always like to say, your life is going to change from stairs to stairs. And when you are in that space and you put yourself in that space, you are going to be a better auctioneer, and you're going to have to work on all of the different components that are there. You're going to have to work on your first impression. You're going to have to work on your introduction. You're going to work on your item descriptions. Going to have have your chant down. You're going to have your salesmanship down. You're going to, like you said, you had, being able to answer that question, but then also having your outro. And in that laboratory that is stairs to stairs, your life will change. All right, Randy's got a question, or kind of a comment. He says, first competition was very intimidating to me. Only being in the best of this less than a year and looking at guys that have been in it for forever, the nerves got me. Oh my gosh, Randy. Well, very common. And I remember when I started competing, I felt the exact same thing. So you're not the only one that is feeling this and have felt it. And I hope that after the contest, you were able to look back and see that you didn't die. This is not the worst thing that's ever happened to you in your entire life. Like this is a learning opportunity, and that you were able to get in the ring and be able to sell at the best space of where you're at right then. And I would like to think that since the contest, your growth that has come from that is has been pretty exponential. So and I know for next time your nerves are not going to be as much as before, because then you'll have another year under your belt. You'll have gone through the contest. You know what the motions are, and you know how the contest runs and how to really develop that contest run. And I'm going to be putting out some more content here in the next year, really focusing on contests and how to be your best self. Just like we're doing the Q&A today, I'm going to be putting a lot out there, because I really want to share my experience, share my knowledge, and really provide as much value as I can and put that out into the world, because there's not really any auctioneer that's doing that. So I was like, all right, well, guess what? I'm the one. I've got the Auctioneer School. Let's use this position that I have to be able to help as many auctioneers that are out there. So the key to this is really looking at what the judges are looking for in the contest. Now, I'm working with a couple different auctioneers in helping them with their coaching, and with the one particular auctioneer really wants to do well in his state competition. So we're working weekly on this. We're working on all the different elements that are there. And a big part of that was looking at the judging criteria. So now the judging criteria, what judges are looking at is chant, clarity, rhythm, timing. In this particular state, it's 50% chant, clarity, rhythm, and timing. So making sure that you've got the voice control, breath management, speed, overall clarity of the bid calling process. And I know that all three of you have been a part of the Auctioneer School and have seen the different practice sessions that I've been able to put out there, those different practice drills. And by using these practice drills, I mean, that's definitely going to help you with your chant. That's definitely going to help you with your clarity. That's definitely going to help you with your rhythm and help you with your timing. And a big part of all of that, again, is that voice control, that breath management, speed, and clarity, and making sure that you are as crisp and as clean as you possibly can be. And that comes from those repetitions. That comes from those auctioneer drills, to be able to be as smooth as possible. Now, breath management is a huge judging factor that I judge on when I judge auctioneer contests, and I hate to see auctioneers that are fantastic. They get a wonderful chant. There you go, 25 at a bit, 35 at a bit, 45 at a bit, 55, 65. 75 at a bit, 85 at a bit, 95 at a bit down, $100. And they take these huge breaths, and it really is it's kind of like nails on a chalkboard for me. And the breath management is a big piece, and knowing how to breathe as an auctioneer. Now, I've done a video on this. It's on the YouTube channel. It's here in the Auctioneer School. I'm going to do some more videos on this, but it's really about using your diaphragm and doing what we call diaphragmatic breathing. And what that is it's opening your mouth, dropping your diaphragm, filling your lungs up, and being able to breathe without any noise. And as I'm presenting here today, notice when I'm taking breaths. You might not even be able to notice when I'm taking breaths because you can't hear it. But what I'm doing is I am diaphragmatic breathing the entire presentation. And this is the way that I've trained myself to breathe over the year. And you can go on YouTube, you can look at, Google this, and it's called diaphragmatic breathing. And there's a ton of videos out there, because this is what singers use. This is what rappers use. This is what, people that play instruments that they've got to blow into use. This is a big part of that. Now, Brian, I know you have some music. You've got some musical singing and some rapping experience. Am I right?
Yeah, and it's so true. I was just kind of doing it while we were talking, just a little bit of chant to just see it, because I don't think I even realize it or have heard it. You know, the term of called that, but it is. It's like you're breathing without, you know what I mean, doing that whole gasp of air. You're just letting the air,
Yep.
and it's not that you're not stopping for the breath. You are, but it's such a quick stop for the breath that you're able to keep on your rhythm and keep on your chant. You know, and from coming to music, and I did hip hop music, that rhythm was very important. And so, like I said, it's not that you don't stop for the breath, but you know when to stop, you know how to stop, and then you just keep moving forward to the next number, next line, next, you know, yeah.
Yeah.
So totally.
Yep. And Benjamin, I know you're a drummer and you've got a big musical background. What the breath really is a rest. And by being able to use that rest and that silence as you're developing that rhythm and as you're using your rhythm in your auction chant, then that's where you keep that rhythm going, 25 out of 35 and 45, 55, 65, 75, 85, 85 out of 90, now 90, now 100, 100, now 5, 505, 110, 120, 130, 130, 140, 150, and 60, 70, 80. So as I'm making those changes, you'll notice that that's the breath that I'm taking. I've got this visual aid right here, this paper bag. Everybody's got a paper bag, and you can try this at home. So as we're talking about breathing control, now the breath that I kind of demonstrated before, the kind of thing, what you're doing is you are constricting your airway, so you've got a very little hole. So it's like you're blowing up a bag, and you've got this constriction in this small hole, and it's like this. It takes a bunch of breaths to even get this partially full. But what I'm really talking about is opening your mouth, opening your diaphragm, and really being able to fill this up in just this very short way, like this. And look, it's already full. It just pops out, and that's what the paper bag really represents. Your lungs and how to fill those up and fill the gas tank is what I really is. And filling that gas tank with the air, with oxygen, it helps your brain work better. It helps your heart. It calms your heart rate. It calms your nerves, and it gives you the opportunity to again perform at the utmost ability, and it's so very important. So breath management, a big thing about the judging. So now the next thing in judging, they talk about the interview question. We talked about interview already, testing the competitor's communication skills, which it's not really the answer. It's your skills of being able to communicate effectively and efficiently at the same time, sharing your knowledge of the industry, sharing the professionalism that you have and are able to present when asked a question. And that's 20% of this state's judging criteria. So we're already 70% in your score, and that's just two elements. But let's look at the other 30% that's out there. So the next one is introduction, appearance, and poise, and scores of initial stage presence, of how you take that stage, how you present yourself, clothing, poise when stepping onto the auction block. This is the representation of yourself and representing yourself as in the brightest light as possible. The next being body language, audience scanning, assessing, eye contact with the bidders, your posture, your shoulders back, your chest out, and then how effectively the auctioneer surveys the crowd for bids. And as the auctioneer, if you miss a bid, you're going to be dead in the water. But that's where you can control that side to side, pretty much from corner to the corner of the room, and making sure that you're sweeping for those bids. And this is an easy way to get that 10%, is start on the far left and then scan all the way to the far right, scan on the far right, all the way to the far left, and then making sure that you say sold. Like there's some auctioneers that I've seen in contests that forget to say sold, and the judges will mark you down for that. But it's so easy to capture this 10% with your introduction, with your appearance, and with that poise. I've got a question here. Breathing has been something I've worked hard on for the last few months. Someone came to me after the sale the other night, told they may notice a change in rhythm, how they never notice when I breathe. Randy, Woohoo! I love that. Thumbs up on that. I love that. That's a great example of how your breathing is really able to be as good as possible. So I love to hear that. Next one. Is the final one, or sorry, the next one, body language and audience scanning. We talked about scanning. We talked about your effectiveness as the auctioneer. And then the next component is the ambassador potential rates of how well the individual would serve as a professional representative for the association. So that is all of those components built into this, and again, how professional you represent yourself in the auction contest. And if you can do that, there's a quick 10% that you're able to gain. So looking at all of these different areas, and if you can bring that chant, the clarity, the rhythm, the timing, answer the interview question in a good way, the introduction, the appearance, your poise, body language, audience scanning, in your ambassador potential, if you start checking all these boxes off, you're going to score high. And the ones that win the auction contest are able to get high scores in all of these. I have seen auctioneers that have had a beautiful chant and flop on the interview and lose the contest. I've seen auctioneers that have a okay chant and knock it out of the park in the interview and win the contest. So all of these elements are so very important to that. All right, let's see here. I got some notes that are going here.
I just have a question. Do you feel like all of them are about similar in the percentages and what they look for on each of the contests that you have participated in?
Yeah, so this particular state gleans their judging criteria directly from the International Auctioneers Championship. So
Okay.
very, very similar, and many states will do that because a lot of times is many state auction contest champions or auction champions will then go to the IAC as a representative of that state. So this becomes a preparation for the IAC and to really perform as best as possible. All right. Keep the questions coming. You guys are crushing it today, and all of the questions and all of this information that we're sharing here today, I am recording. I'll put back in the school so people can see it and absorb it and ask their own questions and keep that conversation going. Why are the interviews so important? To prove you're a man of the industry. On the LMA, the interview matters high, and you hit it right on the head there. To prove that you are a consummate professional, the LMA, the Livestock Marketing Association, their champion then becomes a representative of the LMA throughout the year, and they're traveling to different livestock markets as the LMA champion, and to making sure that they selected the best auctioneer on that contest day is so very important, because they're going to go out and they're going to represent the LMA. They're going to speak on behalf of the LMA. They're going to showcase what is possible by being a part of that, being part of the LMA. Whether you are an auctioneer, you're a buyer, you're a seller, whatever that, or even a auction house owner, you then are seeing the benefits of what it means to be a member of that association. The NAA, same thing. It's a representation of the association, and many times the champion's going to be going on stage. They're going to be on different media interviews. They're going to be they might be on podcasts. They're going to be in that shining light for the entire year and even beyond that. And being the representative is so very, very important. All right. In contests, many contestants focus way too much on winning. Now, the focus is on becoming undeniable. That's what we're really trying to put forth out there, is that you are undeniably a professional auctioneer. And by working on all of those elements that I had talked about, that stage to stage, your intro, your auction, your item description, your chant, your clarity, your salesmanship, your scanning, and your outro, those elements you're able to work on directly. And then when you can check all those off on your own internal score sheet, you're going to score high, and the winner of the auctioneer contest is the one that scores the highest on all of those elements. And I've talked to many different champions that have won, and on the day that they won, they didn't think they were going to win. They went in with the focus of being the best auctioneer that they can be on that day. And when they did that, and they almost just released the outcome into the universe and said, you know, the outcome's going to be what the outcome's going to be. I'm just going to be the best person that I'm going to be. I'm going to represent myself. I'm going to perform at my utmost. And whether, you know, that panel of judges thinks that I'm the best on the day of, so be it. If I don't win, that's okay too. I'm all right with that. I just know that I put my best foot forward, and I'm out there really sharing my passion and my love for this art that is auctioneering. And it is that release of the win. I mean, yes, we all want to go in there to win, and there's many auctioneers that can win these contests, but it's really about the authenticity of their performance. It beats the imitation. Now, I remember when I was a younger competitive auctioneer and I had entered the IAC for the first time, I was watching all of these videos and I saw everybody, you know, what they were doing. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to do exactly what they do. I'm going to say exactly what they say, and I'm going to do exactly what they do. And I was imitating these different auction champions. I wasn't bringing my best performance out. I was performing as a different auctioneer. And when that happened, that authenticity went away, and that imitation's never going to win. And it's really about you, again, bringing out your best self, bringing out your best performance, and being as authentically you as you can be. And that is what's going to win the contest. So that authenticity is really important about getting out there. All right. What about prize money? Is there something or a year-long package of beef or gasoline for auto auctioneers? That is a great question. In the LMA, they do win the use of a truck, pretty much a truck lease for an entire year. That is wrapped in the LMA logo. So they get to use that. And then they also have some significant prize money. It might be $5,000, might be $10,000. When I won the Automobile Auctioneer Championship in 2015, I won $10,000, and I won a ring, and I won a big trophy. It was amazing. And that 10 grand, I took that money and I bought some gasoline with it. Yes. But what I also did is I took my family to Disneyland, and we had pretty much an all expenses paid trip to Disneyland. And I had made that a goal of mine that if I won, that's what I would do. So I was literally the poster boy of, oh, you won the auction championship. What are you going to do now? I'm going to Disneyland, and it happened. You know, one thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to put into the school community my auto auction championship run, so that everybody can see what that looked like, and what the different, and so you can identify the different elements of what I did as that contest run went on. All right, ship run. Okay. So as much as an important as authenticity is for your auction contest run, confidence is that next part. And confidence comes from preparation. And nobody feels confident before they're prepared, and being prepared is so very key. And again, looking at those different elements that I was talking about, the stairs to stairs and everything that happens in between that. And if you're working on all of those different elements, and you're working on all of the different areas that the judges are going to be judging you on, then you're going to build your confidence. You know, Randy, I hope that you've got some more confidence from your last contest by being able to go through it and being able to do it, and again, not dying, but then also being able to enhance your own performance as you're going on, you know, throughout this next year. And you've already shown that you've been working a lot on your breathing, and that's going to be something that you know that you're good at, and knowing that you're good at that, that's going to help rise up your confidence. And then now it's just a matter of working on all of the other elements that are there to build that confidence and to help build that authenticity in all of this. So that confidence is so key, and that confidence comes from preparation. And we say in the school, it's progress, not perfection. And I want everybody to continue to make progress. And I'm still progressing in my auction chant. I'm still progressing in my auction performance. I'm still progressing in all of those different elements that are there. I may compete in the IAC again someday, not in the near future, but someday. And when that someday comes, all of the preparation and all of the practice that I've done from now until then is going to help me to be as confident as possible. Now, confidence is different than cockiness. Being cocky and like, I got this, I'm going to win, and then, like that. The judges can see that, and they know that, and they can feel that for you on a different level than they would if someone that did walk out and was very confident. They were great in their introduction. Hello, everyone. My name is Bobby D, and what an honor and a privilege it is to be here, surrounded by the best auctioneers in the industry. I'm contestant number one, and and then in that auction item introduction, the description of what that is, you can practice that. You can prepare for that. You can prepare for the chant. You can prepare for the breathing. You can prepare for your rhythm. And with that, that's where that confidence is going to be able to come from. We talked about the interview, and the interview often wins contests. Many contestants spend 90% of their time on the chant and only 10% on the interview. Now, the best contestants are able to do both. So now the question that I would ask if I was you all is, how do you become better at the interview? Well, there's a lot of different places out there in the world that you're able to go and practice to be a better public speaker. Here in America, we've got what they call Toastmasters. Now, I'm asking you all a question. Brian, Randy, have you heard of Toastmasters? Have you ever attended a Toastmasters? For myself, I've attended quite a few Toastmaster meetings, and it was great. It was very beneficial for me to be a better public speaker. Brian.
I've heard of it, but I haven't attended yet. One, I'm gonna look into one in my area. I am a smaller rural community, but they do have stuff like this. Like I was at a BNI meeting, and
Nice.
there is a lot of networking stuff, and so I do need to look into it because I have heard nothing but good things about Toastmasters.
Yeah, and there's some virtual Toastmasters meetings that are out there as well too. One of my junior auctioneers here in New York is a part of a virtual Toastmasters. They meet every morning at 6 a.m. and someone gives a speech to the camera, and then then they've got a set of judges. The judges score the individual giving the speech on a rubric of different elements. I'm going to Google this real quick to see if I can find Toastmasters judging criteria. All right, let's see here. All right, Toastmasters judging criteria. All right, internet's thinking. Oh, my internet's slow today. What's going on here? All right, what are the judges thinking? All right, here we go. Oh, it's making me download the form. That's all right. I can do this. Okay. So judging items from Toastmasters for a speech, they've got speech development, the structure, the organization, the support material. They talk about the effectiveness, clear purpose, achievement of purpose, relevance, speech value. What are the ideas? What are the logic? What is original thought, physical. This is very similar to the auctioneer contest. Appearance, body language, speaking area, the way that you're moving in your body mechanics, your voice, your flexibility, your inflection, your volume, making sure that you are at appropriate volume. There has been times I've been at auction contests and judge auction contests where you've got the auctioneer that comes in and is like, all right, everybody, it's time to go. And it's like, whoa, wait a minute, buddy. You are way too loud. Like, use the microphone effectively. So the voice, manner, directedness, assurance, enthusiasm. The next one, appropriateness to speech purpose and audience, and then correctness, grammar, punctuation, word selection. So you're able to practice these elements in the Toastmasters space. You're going to be a better interviewer or interviewee all the way through. Like, this is huge. So I would suggest, and Ben, if this is something that you're interested in doing, maybe joining a virtual Toastmasters might be able to help you too. I know that you're in the livestock chat, kind of track, but maybe one day you'll get to compete in the LMA, and there will be that interview that's gonna come from that. So you never know, and this is the best way to be prepared. And then Randy and Brian, this would be something that I would highly suggest looking at, is joining the Toastmasters community, joining that network, and really putting yourself out there to be the best interviewee as possible. Now, your contest score and your value are not the same thing. Now, Randy, this is directed at you. Now, a bad placing doesn't mean that you're a bad auctioneer. It just means on that day of the contest, the judges scored you the way that they scored you, and so be it. It is what it is. But what you showing up, what that showcased, is that you're willing to put yourself in this high pressure situation, this anxiety producing situation, this experience that like 99.99999% of the population of the world, and even 99% of the auctioneers that are out there, they will not put themselves in this place. And the pure fact that you did that, it shows that you want to be a better auctioneer, and that you are a better auctioneer from that. So not taking that contest score and really, getting down on yourself, taking these contest sheets. A lot of times the judges will put comments at the bottom of the judging sheets, and many contests will give you those judging sheets, and you'll be able to take those comments and be able to improve upon what your might be lacking in, or what you need to strengthen. This is what I call an opportunity for success. How do you use those comments to continue to get better? There was one year that I was competing in the IAC. I think I took like fourth or fifth, and on one of the judges' sheets, the judges were like, "Your pants are too short." I was like, "What? Are you kidding me?" And I had a suit made, and my tailor asked me, tell me about the pant cuff. Where do you want that? I was like, yeah, let's have it a little bit higher. And the next year I will tell you for certain that I had the appropriate length pants on. It was so funny, but that was something that I was easily able to fix for next year, and that came directly from the auction contest judges' remarks that were there. All right, we got some more questions here. I love this. You guys are doing great today. Okay, so Randy, not been a part of Toastmasters. All right, you downloaded the list. I love that. It's great stuff. Love that. All right, some more questions. This is Q&A, and I want to make sure that again I'm providing as much value and as possible. So Brian, what I'm going to ask you a question. What's one thing that you're most nervous about competing?
I would just say is being just ready for it, as in a sense is um, I've found with doing music, the more I think about it and like, oh man, I'm gonna forget my lyrics. I have forgotten lyrics on stage, and then I've had them totally freestyle my lyrics, and so is just of that is not putting so much pressure on myself to have to just be myself and be up there. I know I can be authentic, but just I would say that and just letting it flow, because I can see is, oh, you get your items. Now you're trying to memorize a description. Oh, man, I got to get this description on. I got to get this. I got to tell them, oh, I'm from Buell, Idaho. It's an honor. And I don't want to slip up. So kind of just being yourself and know when you just, I think what you said it best earlier, when you're prepared, you can kind of go with the flow and just let it flow, and knowing that when you're prepared, have that confidence to not second guess yourself. And so I would say that kind of, I've second guessed myself before, like, oh, I don't know my lyrics, but I do know my lyrics. I wrote these. Or second guess myself, hey, like, I'm a good auctioneer. I'm gonna mess up on my introduction or this. I don't feel as bad as at the chant, but I know I can grow in my chant. But I think it's more the before and afterwards stuff. You know what I mean? Not that chant part that's so short. The introduction and then the outro would probably, I would say, would be. And then I like to talk with my hands a lot. So finding that right, because I think you still have to be animated up there, but finding that right type of animation, if
Yep.
that makes sense.
Yep. Yeah, the appropriate animation that's there, and that's another thing that I judge auctioneers on is their body mechanics. And again, we go back to the judging sheet, and it does talk about your stature. It talks about your presence that you have. And if you're erratic and you're like 25, 35, 45, 55, 65, 75, 85, 95, 100, 100 down 2 2 3 4 4, or some people will go like this. So hey, 25, 35, 45, 85, 65, 65, or
I found I move my fingers. That's why if I have a card or something in my hand, I didn't notice it, but you pointed it out one time, and then I watched video back because I got my 360, and I found I like to move my fingers and stuff, like trying to entice people, but I'll move it like that rather than or just pointing at them, and
Yep.
so.
Yeah, and this is going to be something that is directly going to help you win an auction contest, is being mindful and again practiced in your hand gestures. Now, as you're going along and you've got that microphone, where's my microphone at? Oh my gosh, wait a minute, there it is. As you've got the microphone, because they all use handheld microphones, that you've got to be confident of grabbing the microphone and having it at the appropriate distance, like right above the chin is great. It's kind of like you're licking an ice cream cone, but don't lick it because that's gross. And using that hand, that right hand or your left hand, whatever it might be, to really mean something. They say communication is 75-80% nonverbal, and if you can use your nonverbals effectively, then you're going to be much more of an effective auctioneer. So as you're videoing yourself, which I love, and that's so important, and I would say in anybody that's preparing for a contest, is to videotape yourself performing auctions, videotape yourself practicing and looking at your body mannerisms. Like mute the audio and just look at your body mannerisms. Now in an auction contest, I like to have hands below the chest, just so you're not up in here and you're distracting, but having those hands below the chest, and then having your hand your fingers closed, open palm, and then as you're directing those bids, you're very smooth. 25 out of 35, 45, 55, 55 out of 65, 75, 75. And then as you're using that, come on, bid again, that encouragement right there, be sparing when you use it because you want it to mean something. But if you're like this all the time, 25 out of 35, 45, 55, 65, 75, 85, it loses its effectiveness. So being purposeful about that and inviting people to be able to bid. It's like, I want you to bid $25 or you're going to take that bid. Yes, $25. Now 35. Did you want to bid 35? $35. $35. What are we to get 35? Come on, 35. 35 at the bid 45, 55. 55, 65, 75. Now, there's auctioneers that I've talked with that have a very hard time not pointing. Now, I am guilty of this as well, too. I have caught myself multiple times on video with the benefit auctions that I'm doing, pointing, and nobody likes to get pointed at. And the way that you can fix this is you get this pointer finger under control by grabbing it with your thumb. And by grabbing it with your thumb, what you've done is you have pretty much removed that element of pointing that finger. So now you're moving along, and you've got that 25 out of 35, 45. A lot of cattle auctioneers will do this, and you'll see that in the contest on Saturday that they'll do that. And the reason they do that is so they're not pointing. It's just as effective. Or you could also use the Disney point where it's the two fingers. You could go along like that. I personally like the open hand. The open hand's very warm. The open hand is very inviting. The open hand gives you the opportunity to invite people into bid. You could be going along, 25 at a bid 30. Would you bid 30, 30? Could you get 30, 30, 30? Thank you. And 30, now 35. Could you get 35? How about 40? I'm going to bid 40, now 45, 45, 50. 50, could you get 50, 50, 55, 60, 60. Now 5, 70. Would have been 70, 70, 70. But making sure that you're not boom, 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 that you're using that again appropriately. 70. Would you bid 70? 70 could have bid 80, 80 now 90, 90, and making sure that you are under control. Now, another piece of body language is the movement that you're making on stage. I got to say before I move on, hey, what's up to Jonathan? Thank you so much for joining us. Jonathan, if you've got any questions about contests, throw them in the chat. Again, this is, there's nothing is off limits. I am an open book today, and I'm want to help as much as I can. Jonathan, I do want to ask you a question. Are you planning on competing in an auction contest in the next year? Give me a thumbs up, or go ahead, put that in the chat. Let me know, just so I can take a gauge of where you're at. Pretty much everybody that's with us, 90% of them are going to be competing in an auction contest in the next year. So back to my thought. Movement on stage, body movement on stage, your feet movement on stage. Now, again, this is another thing that you've got to be aware of. This is another thing that you've got to practice. And this is another thing that you can use to score as high as possible. I always like to have auctioneers that I'm coaching. I want them to take center stage, and then I want to put a nail right through their foot into the stage. 1 foot. And then you only get to use that 1 foot at a time. So then you're going to take a step forward. I'm going to bid $25, now 35. I'm going to bid 35, little bit step forward right there. 35 at a bid, 35 at a bid. Thank you. 35 at a bid, now 45. $45, now you take a step to the right, go to the right bidder. Little bit step right there, right here, down 35 at the bid, 45, 55. Thank you. Now 55s, take a step back. 65, you can take a step forward. But if all of a sudden now you're doing that on every bid, now it kind of looks like you're a little bit dancing and you kind of got to go to the bathroom. Nobody likes to see that. So making sure that you're purposeful when you do, just as much as you're using that come here, come along with me motion, I want you to then take that step purposefully. I want you to be in the zone, but I don't want you to be, again, dancing around. Sometimes what will end up happening is people will be dancing around on stage. And again, the contest tomorrow, Texas, and the LMA, they're seated, but you can also see the way that they're moving their body. If they're going along like this, hey, 25 at a bit now, down at a quarter, dollar to half, 75 at a bit, dollar, 75 at a bit, 2. I'm at a bit 2 and a quarter, now 50, 50, 75 at a bit, now 3. Like, you can have a little bit of movement, in there if you're seated, but when you're bouncing like that, it's distracting. It's hard to stay in front of the microphone. And we want to make sure that your presence is as poised as possible. All right, I got some questions here. All right, I was having issues with audio. There is one I'm planning on attending in September. I love that. Jonathan, you're going to have to remind me where you're calling from or which contest that you're planning on competing in September. But this right here, that controlled movement, and if you are stuck in a seat, you can then still make that gesture with your shoulder, make that invitation. Thank you. $25, $25 at a bit, $35 at a bit, $45, $45. Thank you. Now $55, $55. Would you bid $55? Now 65 at a bit, 75 at a bit, $85 at a bit, 95 at a bit, $2. Get a bit two to bid get 2. Give me 2. I'm at a bit $2 now quarter, 2 and a quarter, 2 and a half. So you see how I'm kind of making that movement, and I'm not dancing. I'm not looking like I've got to go to the bathroom. I'm there making those invitations. I'm connecting directly with that bidder versus having that open conversation with the entire audience. And again, body mannerism, your nonverbals, super important to then Oklahoma. Oh my gosh, that is a That's a tough contest. Good for you. Good for you. Oklahoma State Auctioneers Association. There's some amazing auctioneers in Oklahoma, and I'm looking forward to seeing you compete on that, Jonathan. So the other mannerism that I was talking about, and this is in the score sheet, is that sweeping of the room. If you want to win an auction contest, you've got to make that good sweep. And we did talk about that all the way from the left, looking across, using that open hand. I'm going to bid 25 at a bid. Anybody get 35? 35 at a bid, 35. I'm going once. Anybody get 35 at a bid? I'm going twice. Do you see how I went from left to right and then back to left again? So I'm making sure that I'm not missing anybody. And it's in that last call is where you definitely want to make that sweep. Now, sometimes what will end up happening is you'll have two bidders on the left side. You'll be going along, how about a bid dollar, quarter, dollar, half, 75 at a bid, $2, $2, two and a quarter, two and a half, 75, three. I'm going to bid three and a quarter, three and a half, 75 at a bid, four and a quarter, four and a half, 75. Sold at 450. And then what'll end up happening is you didn't scan the audience. In not scanning the audience, the judges are going to knock you down. You were just focused on these two bidders because you could have had somebody way over there in the rafters that was raising their hand trying to get your attention, but you were focused on these two bidders and you forgot to scan the audience. They're going to mark you down for that. So making sure that you're going, even if you've got two bidders here, you're two and a quarter, two and a half, at a bid 75, at a bid down, $3. Anybody get three quarter, half, at a bid 75, at a bid 75, four. I'm at a bid $4, quarter. Now half, anybody get 450. And you'll see in the contest on Saturday at the LMA that the ones that are going to score the highest are going to be the ones that are using that scan method as they're in their auction chant. They're going all the way through that. All right, rubber bands around the pointer fingers. that's a great way to do it, is having that rubber band there as you're practicing, to know that you're not going to point. So either doing that where you're grabbing the finger and you've got the three fingers that are there, that's going to control that pointer, or practicing with that rubber band. That's a great way. What about using humor in your auction chant and in your sell run? You can definitely use that, but I want you to make sure that it's appropriate. I mean, you're not up there as a stand-up comedian. So there are some auctioneers that are really, really, really funny, and they like to share that they're funny, and it's a good lightener of the room. People are laughing, people are having a good time. That's our job as auctioneers. But it can get in the way of effectiveness. Now, there are those like little quips and little sayings that are out there. I'm not sure if I put the sayings yet in the school or not, but I'm going to create a list of auctioneer sayings that you can use in your contest run. And it's like hot sauce. You can't. You got to use just the right amount. If you put too much in there, then it's going to be too spicy. It's going to be too overwhelming, and the audience isn't going to respond. And it's like, you could be going along in 25 at a bit, 35. It's your turn to go. Don't lose out. 35, 45, 35, 35, 45, 45. Come on. It's only money. 45, 55, 55, 55. Don't let them steal your item tonight. 55, 65, whatever that little quip could be. If you put one in between each of your numbers like that, it's going to make the contest run longer. It's going to show that you might be nervous and you're not as confident in your auction chant as possible. But being able to, again, sprinkle some of these little auctioneer sayings in there is a great way to showcase your personality. And as you're practicing your auction chant and as you're out there in the world performing, I want you to find out which ones of these auction sayings, these auctioneer sayings, work with your skill, like work with your chant and work with your rhythm. And that's going to be able to help you be an effective auctioneer. And ultimately, that's what the judges are looking for. All right, I've got a few more minutes left here. I want to see Marcus Canada. He's feeling like, watch your mother at the door. Let's go to war. I love that. That's good stuff. And they've got those little quips. They've got those little sayings that are in there, or those little rhymes that are in there. and they've used these and they've worked in the past. Now at the contest, I would say do not use an auctioneer saying that you haven't used in the past. Like, don't bring new material. I want you to use stuff that has worked in the past, that you've practiced, that you've used, that gets a laugh, that's effective, and that is not annoying or off color. All right, so we've got I'm going to see if there's any last questions here before I go on. All right, so if you take one thing away from today, let it be this. Competing isn't about proving that you're good enough. It's about becoming better than you were yesterday and the day before that and the day before that. And every great auctioneer that I've ever met in a contest was willing to get uncomfortable. They were putting themselves in a situation that normal people don't put themselves into. They step on the stage and they let themselves be judged. This is where that growth happens. This is where your life is changed from stairs to stairs. So a couple quick announcements before we wrap up here. I've got a Auctioneer Mastermind Pro next week on Wednesday. I want to see, if you want to keep the conversation going, join us next week on Wednesday. Bring your biggest challenge, maybe your next opportunity, your toughest questions. We're going to workshop real situations, share ideas, help you take the next step in your auctioneer journey. Now, this is a premium level perk. I want to see you there. Now, premium membership, just today, I adjusted what our premium membership was from previous. Now, in the previous membership, if you're serious about becoming the better auctioneer, building a better business, winning contests, or simply accelerating your growth, this premium is designed for you as a premium member. It's only $49 a month. You spend more on apps. This is a chance for you to become a better auctioneer. We're going to have group weekly coaching calls just like this. We're going to be, I'm going to put, pretty much office hours that are out there. We're going to be doing coaching. I could have some directed coaching elements like we're talking about contests today. We could really break down the contest. We can break down how to build your business. We can break down how to find business. There's a lot of stuff that we can put in there. You're going to get live access to all of the Q&A sessions and these coaching calls. You get live access like you all are experiencing today. If you're not a premium member, you'll get to see the recordings. But if you are a premium member, then you do get that live access. Again, you're going to be included in the Call to Auction Auctioneer Network, where I do put these auctioneer opportunities out there. I think in the last 6 months, I put out at least 10 auctioneer opportunities to find auctioneers that are out there in the nation on particular dates that I've been requested for, or my team's been requested for, and I need some help filling that, whether it's a ringman, whether it is an auctioneer, a scribe, something like that. You're going to be involved in that. We're also going to have the pro mastermind meetings, going to be what we've got next week. And also I'm throwing in a one-on-one monthly coaching call for 30 minutes. That's where you and I are be able to talk together for 30 minutes about anything that you want, that you need help on. I'm going to be coaching you directly. So that's a one-on-one monthly coaching call, as well as monthly expert workshops and hot seats with other auctioneers that are out there in the industry. I'm going to have them be a part of this. I've had a couple auctioneers already. Jonathan Larson was one of them. I'm going to get my wife, Erin, on here. I'm going to get past auctioneer champions on here. We're going to talk about contests. We're going to talk about fundraising. We're going to talk about business. We're going to talk about all of those different elements and building your chant and all of that. So we're going to have some auctioneer hot seats in there. Now, my goal is simple. I want to help you shorten the learning curve. I want to put gasoline on your fire. I want you to avoid years of trial and error like I've had to experience. I want to help you. You get direct access to me, community of committed auctioneers, tools, training, accountability to help you reach your goals faster. And at $49 a month, this is one of the best investments you can make in yourself and your auctioneering career. And if you're waiting to sign to invest in your growth, this is it. I'd love to have you join us as a premium member. I've got one more comment. Thank you, Bobby D. Brian, you are so welcome. Jonathan, Randy, Benjamin, thank you so much for being a part of this today. If there's any questions that you've got going beyond this, I'm going to put the recording in the school, and you can ask the question on that recording, and I'll definitely answer it because I'm here for you. I want to serve you. I want you all to be the best as you can. Randy, you're so very, very welcome. All right. So I'm going to wrap up here. I want to wish you all a amazing day. I want you to go out and practice your stairs to stairs and all of the elements that are in there. If you want to move into some more private coaching, please let me know. Send me a message. I've got full access for you. So thank you again. I'm going to turn off the recording now. And thank you for all of those that are watching this at a later date. Let me know if you got any questions. All right, everybody. Bobby D, your Auctioneer School coach.